Hello everyone, my name is Ashanti Smith and I'll be discussing the teaching instructional strategy over bulletin boards. A little bit about myself is I'm from Americus, Georgia. I have been living in Albany, Georgia for the past 12 years. This will be my third year teaching business education. I currently work at Quitman County High School in Georgetown, Georgia. The CTAE pathways that I teach are financial services, which includes banking, investing, and insurance, and financial literacy. And I also teach the business and technology pathway, which includes intro to business technology, and business communication. I am also going into my third year of being an FBLA advisor. Today's objectives will be to demonstrate an understanding of bulletin boards, the benefits, the types, ways to use them in your classroom, and in the showcase. After the lesson, students will be able to identify the purpose of bulletin boards, apply teaching strategies on bulletin boards, and students will be able to develop a bulletin board. For this lesson, you will need computer with internet access, the handouts and the worksheet. The supplies will be the paper and writing utensils, the PowerPoint handout with the note slide printed, the handout over bulletin boards that make learning visible, and the worksheet printed out on the guidance on bulletin boards. Alright, so let's get started. The opening for today is to write one thing you like to see on bulletin boards. Great job. There are no right or wrong answers. You could put a numerous amount of things on bulletin boards. The opportunities on bulletin boards are endless. Personally, on my bulletin boards, I like to see them as a showcase, but also mix with a little interactive. I like them to be bright and colorful because I just feel like the more engaging it is, the more better a response you're going to have out of it, and the more that it will motivate and inspire people to actually look at your bulletin board. Like they will come from all over just to see what you have on your board. So think about it like that. Throughout this PowerPoint, I'll be going over different ways that you can enhance your bulletin boards. What are bulletin boards? Bulletin boards are a powerful learning tool for classrooms ranging from preschool to high school and beyond. They can be used to relay information to students, reinforce lesson, display student works, and more. They could be interactive or decorative. There are many different types. Bulletin boards are a very important aspect of any classroom setting. They are very beneficial. There are several benefits of bulletin boards, but we're just going to focus on the main four. There are four main benefits of bulletin boards. Informative. Informative bulletin boards reinforce a skill or a subject by visually illustrating those concepts with an informative board. This type of board is great for displaying reference materials like tables, maps, time frames, and even homework assignments. A lot of teachers use this board in replace of their lesson plans. Some bulletin boards serve as inspiration. They are there to inspire and encourage students. Showcasing their student works makes them feel valued. Inspirational bulletin boards also serve as a learning tool. Efficiency. Bulletin boards help you save time and promote productivity. They are a great place to post lessons, lesson plans, assignments, and memos. Community. Traditional and online bulletin boards can symbolize a sense of belonging to a social cohesion. They symbolize togetherness and they also allow you to be engaged and have engaging interactions. So, how often do you change your bulletin boards in your classroom? Now, please be honest. I know as teachers that we just sometimes cannot find the time to do it, but how often do you actually think that you change your bulletin boards in your classroom or any that you are assigned to at your school? All right, so your answers may vary, but it is very important to keep your bulletin boards updated. The most common pitfall of maintaining a bulletin board is not maintaining it at all. We as teachers, we have so much to do in the workforce, we just kind of push bulletin boards out to the side. But no matter how pretty or how much time you invested in it, you have to change it. You have to make sure that you keep your message going throughout the entire part of the school year. The type of bulletin board that you have and its function will determine how often that you should change it. Decorative bulletin board should ideally be changed once a month, depending on the theme. Showcase bulletin board should be changed every 2 weeks, to keep students interactive and engaged, like they to make them want to do the work so their assignments could go on the board. Update informational and conceptual bulletin boards every week. Change it out. What's going on this week at the school? What's going on this week in your CTSO? What's going on this week in your classroom? Keep it up to date. Now, there are many factors that will determine how often you should also change your bulletin boards. You have to consider the type of bulletin board that it is, the theme, the colors, and the material. Now, you may have a bulletin board that you want to leave the colors up all year and you just change the themes and the types around, which is totally fine. I'm assigned to one across from the water station. I leave the background up. I change the borders every now and then, but I just keep taking out the material. Same thing on my bulletin boards in my classroom. So just keep it fresh and keep it updated. That'll keep your audience more engaged. Okay, so don't worry. I will be discussing the different types of bulletin boards and give you some ideas on how you can make your bulletin board stand out, how to keep them interactive, and ways to make them more engaging with your audiences in your community, in your school. Here are all the different types of bulletin boards. We have the traditional bulletin board, we have an online and virtual bulletin board, the decorative bulletin board, the bulletin board that showcases student work, the informative bulletin boards, and the interactive bulletin boards. I will go over each different type of bulletin boards in the next few slides. This will be a great time to take notes on your handouts. This is an example of a traditional bulletin board. This particular bulletin board is the one I did for Dr. Seuss Week. Its purpose is just to be eye-catching. The eye-catching bulletin boards, they build interest. Educators should strive to create bulletin boards that introduce new concepts in an exciting way. Bulletin boards appeal to the visual side of learning for students. To build interest, as an educator, you should decorate the bulletin board before the new component or the new theme is discussed or is brought about. Go ahead and start building curiosity when you begin to build, and they'll more likely pay attention to however you decorate your bulletin board throughout your lesson or throughout that week or month for that particular theme. Bulletin boards are the most important component at the school, in the classroom, in the community. They provide a way for you to introduce new material or to display student work. Make them engaging, make them educational, make them interactive in the classroom, which will ensure that the students are recognized, as well as the importance of your materials that you will be posting on your bulletin board. The traditional bulletin boards, they should be changed frequently. I would suggest just once a month. And then whatever you're going to be covering within that next month, go ahead and plan it out so you can also be getting ideas from the students as well as staff and administration. So the online and the virtual bulletin boards, these would be your Pinterest boards and your blogs, also community boards that are posted, or Instagram. The preview on the side is actually from my blog that I have connected to my Pinterest page. So Pinterest is a way that you all can make online or virtual bulletin boards, and also your blogs. If you want to connect your websites to Pinterest, they also serve as a bulletin board. It's a great way to get our information. It also allows you to be able to connect with audiences, so it's kind of engaging, but it's also interactively engaging. It also falls on being more sociable, like the community boards, where you can post the messages and get messages out to a large range of audience in just with just one click of a button. Instagram, also, if you have messages that you want to get out, you can post them to your community boards on Instagram. Those are also ways that you can have different online and virtual boards. Another benefit of having an online and virtual bulletin board, they're very beneficial, and they also can be motivational, and they also may inspire other people. Their opinion boards, they could do the same thing like they do in the classroom or in the school setting, except they have options to comment or like your information. On Pinterest, they could pin them or share them, and also as well as creating a website and having a blog. So those are different options for online and virtual boards. This is an example of a decorative bulletin board. This is actually one of the ones that I did for the beginning of the new year. I had a teacher partner. We were assigned to do this bulletin board for the front of our high school. So when they come in the building, they'll see the new year, new choices. It was a motivational bulletin board, but it still was decorative. It was kind of interactive because they were stopping reading, and some people had advice of some quotes that they wanted on the board as well. So we made this big bulletin board for Welcome Back 2020, New Year, New Choices, and we put a lot of different motivational words and sayings and quotes all on it. And this is an example. Decorative bulletin boards are to serve the purpose of to be decorative. They can have a theme behind them, like our theme was the sun and the clouds. It's totally up to you. There are many options that you can put on your decorative bulletin board. You can Google on Pinterest. I'm sorry, you can search Pinterest and type in the theme that you're looking for in the bulletin board, or you can type in just the word you're looking for in bulletin board. Also, Google search or Bing, they all have different images that you can look at for your bulletin board. This one is the showcase bulletin board. This board right here is where you showcase your student work. In my classroom, this is my showcase bulletin board. I have what it is student work. I also have the title of the assignments they did. I have the standard, which ties back into what how this lesson relates back to the standard. Their test is their instructions on what they did, and I have my rubric, which shows how they were graded on the assignment. It also says commentary on it because on each student's assignment, I give them commentary, which is their feedback on what they did and how they did on their assignment. This does it the background and the borders and stuff, I never change it, and I also always leave my labels on it. The only thing I do on this particular board, I just take down the work and I take down the title tag standards and the rubric, and I just change them out, so it's easier for me to do it that way. It's still engaging. Students still love seeing their work on it. Other staff members, I mean, they love to see the work on the board. As long as you're changing it out, what they really like to see most is the commentary. They love to see your feedback, what you said about their assignment. Also, some advice: don't always put like the best assignments up there. Kind of blend it out. Like, do a student that didn't do as well, but give them advice on how they could get to where they need to be. And also, like, for the students that did good, point to them exactly like, oh, I think it was very awesome that you included this, which was in the standard, or this met the test requirements, or you exceeded in the rubric on this part right here. Balance it out. Don't put grades on it, just only give commentary. The grades are personal. This is only an example of how I showcase student work in my classroom. However you do yours is totally up to you. Just make sure that you keep it update. Do not go over 2 weeks without changing your student showcase board. This bulletin board is the informative and conceptual board. The image that is shown is actually the board that I have in my classroom. This board is a bulletin board that I constantly keep up. Only thing that I do in this one is I also just change out the content. On the left is the careers of the week, and on the right is the college of the week. So every week I'll change them out. I'll put a different career in a different college. I'll give all the information about the job description for the careers, the occupational handler descriptions, how fast the career is growing, the salaries, and the educational requirements. For the college of the week, I just go in, I just change it. I put different colleges up. I give different brochures that I have got. I give them the recruiter's business card. I also give information on financial aid for the college and different um, degrees that are offered by the college. And the folders that I have on there are surrounding the bulletin, not the bulletin board, but surrounding the careers and college of the weeks. Each folder has the course syllabus inside of it, as well as the course description from the Georgia Department of Education that relates to that class. So all the standard information are also in it as well. And on the FBLA side, it's just FBLA applications. And this is an example of how you can do an informative or a conceptual bulletin board. When you're doing your informative and conceptual bulletin boards, just remember that the objective of the bulletin board is to be informative. Whether you're posting news for the school or you're posting the cafeteria lunch menu. In my classroom, I actually have two different types of informative boards. I have this one in the back, and I have another one in the front where I actually have all my lesson plans. I have like the newsletters from the school, the cafeteria lunch menu. I have information about what's going on in my CTSO. So it's really up to you, however you do yours. I also have one outside of my classroom that's just devoted all to FBLA. It could range. Whatever your information that you're trying to get to your audience or to your community, that's what you will put on your information in your conceptual bulletin board. The interactive bulletin board is just what it's titled. It's an interactive bulletin board. This particular bulletin board right here is the one that we have on the hallway in our high school. It says mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the leader of them all? And the mirrors are a reflection of themselves, identifying that they are the leaders. There are many different other ways that you can make an interactive board. You could give a pull, or you could tell them to take a card, or they could write a message, or they could post a picture. However you want to do your interactive bulletin board, it's totally up to you. They're very beneficial. They're very engaging. You will enjoy seeing your staff, admin, and your students' interaction with the bulletin board because it's very interesting. They love to see interesting stuff in the hallways and in the classrooms. That gets them more enthused about your bulletin board as well. This right here is not a bulletin board, but it's actually considered a part of the bulletin board. This right here is an instructional framework. In my classroom, I have my bulletin board that showcases my student work. I also have another part on the bulletin board where it has all of my lessons. This right here is the instructional framework that goes back and it ties into my showcase board and my formative board. Instead of me having to go back and forth to look at my lesson plans every day, every morning, or in the afternoon before I leave, I go ahead and write all of my stuff on the board so I'll know what to do for the next day instead of having to keep looking at my lesson plans. I'll go ahead and include my standards for each of my courses taught. I'm on a block schedule, so I have 3. The standard for each one. I have my essential question, which is my focus for that standard or for that part of the standard. I have my target learning, which is my overall goal for those students in that course for that particular day. Then I have my opening. What's my opening going to be for the day? What are we going to be doing during our work session? And then I'll have my closing. So this is a great idea how you can utilize your bulletin boards or your whiteboards that you have in your classroom to tie back into your bulletin boards. Okay, so right here is just this picture is just a picture of my board side by side. I have my courses that I teach on the board. I have everything that goes with that course from that day only on the lessons, from their standards to their essential questions, their target goal, their which is their I can statement, their opening, the word session, and the closing. Now, this is only just a layout of what I am expecting, how my plan for my day to go by. Of course, you have a list of plan. Things do change, but it's just an example of how I use it. Now, on the side is their student work with their tests and their commentary and the rubric and the standards. Based off of what I have on the board, my admin, they should be able to walk in and exactly tell how I went about connecting their student work with my instructional framework. Even though it's changed, it still was a layout, like an example for them to go by when they compare my instructional framework to my bulletin board, my showcase bulletin board. Okay, so another question. What stood out the most from those bulletin boards that you just saw? Now, I know I showed you a lot of different bulletin boards, but when you look at them, what stood out to you the most? Was it the type of bulletin board it was, the colors on them, the layout, the themes, the message behind the bulletin boards, or could it have been the materials that I use on my bulletin boards? All the bulletin boards that you see are the ones that I did myself personally, so I can tell you I have a certain a vision in mind that I want to achieve with my bulletin boards. I know who I want my outcome to be when I make them, and I know the purpose behind them. So, what stood out the most from you? I'm sorry, what stood out the most to you from those bulletin boards that you just saw? Let's take a minute. Bulletin board factors. The theme is the most important concept of your bulletin board. The theme makes the board stand out. The theme helps determine the colors and the materials. If you do not have a theme, you need to at least have a color layout. Now, let's discuss the different types of themes you can have. You could base your themes off the different seasons, different events going on around the school. You could base your theme on your department, base it on your CTSO, or you could just base it off a color scheme. The option is up to you. If you choose the fall, you can consider doing boards that focus on welcome back to school, going over your classroom rules, your seating arrangements. You could create a bulletin board over team building. That's a great way to focus on your classroom management, and also could help introduce students to one another. You can also talk about how the elections come up, Christmas, Thanksgiving, holidays. All those could be good things that you could possibly use for the fall. In the wintertime, of course, happy holidays, New Year's resolutions, winter safety, stay healthy over the Christmas break. Or you could go in just talking about the season in general. Let your students help you design your bulletin boards. They love to do it. You could turn it into a class project. You could also, if you teach a CTSO, it's built into your curriculum. It's called curricular, so you can incorporate that until like your bulletin board process. I know for me, for FBLA, we designed a bulletin board around fall leadership conference. After we come back, we take pictures and we post them on the bulletin board, and we showcase what we did, what we competed in, not competed, what we the breakout sessions, our interactions, and just how beneficial it was. Also, when you come back from school, make sure you have that welcome back board. I look forward to board. What's going to happen this year? Keep them updated. Keep it informative. For the springtime, you may want to focus on April showers, May flowers, incorporate it into your classroom some kind of way. Easter, Earth Day, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, the end of the year. Reflect on how far your students have come over the school year. Make sure that you have documented like you rewarding them for their success and the programs with the award. Now, update your bulletin board does not necessarily mean that it's a complete overhaul. You just keep the bulk of your board static and refresh just a portion of it more frequently. With the combination boards, they are like half bulletin boards, half white erase boards. You can keep one side intact. The other side, you can update it with current events, homework assigned with quotes, fun facts. Like my dual bulletin board, like I showed y'all, I have one side with the bulletin board, one side with my lesson plans, but I have it in an instructional framework layout. So it's kind of up to you. The opportunities are endless. You also need to go into your material. You need to know how to pick the right type of bulletin board. Not all bulletin boards are equal. Not all bulletin boards are going to be right for your classroom. Not all bulletin boards are going to be able to address your needs. Some important factors to consider when you choose your bulletin board. The material. The material is the most dependable bulletin boards are made of rubber, cork, or fabric. Okay? Although it may look prettier with the fabric, there is nothing wrong with just using the plain old paper background to display your bulletin boards. I use fabric in my classroom because it lasts longer. I can leave it up. Like I say, it stays up pretty much all the time. When I have the ones in the hallway, I have those paper. But in my classroom, I feel like that's my pride and joy. So of course, I'll put a little bit more time into it. Do you want your bulletin board to be writable? Do you want to have a board within the board? Do you want to include a white erase board or a chalkboard or a marker board? Just so you can have somewhere so you can have interaction with your board. Do you want your bulletin board to be lockable? If you have something up there that's valuable, you may want to put like a anti-theft or a tampering lock on it just for your security concerns. It's up to you. Also, think about the size of your bulletin boards. They go from 18 to 24 to a full wall length. It just depends on you. You get out your measuring tape. That's what I do. I got my measuring tape, and I figure out exactly how much space I'm going to need for my bulletin board. So bulletin boards, the factors to consider, same thing throughout middle through high school, pre-K, elementary school, same thing. Consider it all. Whatever you teach, whatever your subject area, students spend a large bulk of the day within those four walls of the classroom. Do not let those walls of the classroom lull them to sleep. Adore them. Have vibrant colors on your bulletin board. Have something they could look at, something that will inspire them. And drive your students to learn each and every single day. That bulletin board, it's gonna be something that they will look at to keep them energy. When someone walk in your door, the first thing they should see is your bulletin board. It should be bright. It should be vibrant. No one wants to be in a classroom that is dull and boring. It will put the students to sleep. So think about the colors. The brighter, the better. Effective eye-catching displays will be a powerful teaching strategy that you can implement in your classroom with bulletin boards. They generate excitement, they make your classroom content better, they help the children learn and appreciate and value the work that they do in your classroom. Once students are happy about your classroom, the word of mouth starts to spread. Your class is awesome. We like going to such and such classroom. It will benefit the whole school community. By carefully choosing what goes up on your classroom walls can get you out of a lot of space that you have. So just think about your teacher strategy once you're putting your bulletin boards together. I'm telling you, the outcome is going to be very worth it. This is a guidance for bulletin boards worksheet that I created for you all. I added the tiny URL in it as well as the hyperlink that takes you straight to it. I will go over what's included in the worksheet. Okay, everyone, right here is a guidance worksheet that I created for you all to use as a reference when you're creating your bulletin boards. Answering these questions will be very beneficial to you to get to the full overall achievement of your bulletin board. So first you decide what type of bulletin board you are creating. Then you'll discuss what is the theme or the topic of your bulletin board. You'll next identify what colors you're going to use. What's your background going to be? What color will your letters be? What kind of borders are you going to use? What color? Will you use images or graphics? What do you need? What kind of images do you need? What type of material will you need? What is the overall message that you want your viewers to get from your bulletin board? And then the main overall objective is to be able to identify what you want your viewers to remember about your board. So this is a pretty straight to the point worksheet. Great reference. All right, here's the handout that I have for you all over bulletin boards that make learning invisible. I put the hyperlink in it as well as the tiny URL. You can just type it in and it'll go right to it. Okay, everyone, this handout right here is titled Bulletin Boards That Make Learning Visible. It pretty much just discusses how bulletin boards serve multiple purposes and they can convey a variety of information from meeting announcements and parent news to curriculum overviews and displays of student work. It also talks about how bulletin boards make learning visible. It gives you the why bulletin boards are so important, and it talks about how bulletin boards reflect a class or a school's identity. And it also wants you to understand why bulletin boards foster a sense of belonging to a learning community. It also discusses the what bulletin boards are and how they make learning visible. It shows what the student learned inside of the classroom and what was done. It also reveals the learning process. At the bottom of the worksheet, it gives you a few guidance questions. These are kind of, they're more in depth, but they're kind of like the ones that I put on my guidance worksheet. It also shows you how bulletin boards work and how they range from a span of simple to complex. It shows you who bulletin boards are for. Who's the audience? The students, the teachers, the parents, the community. Consider involving student in what goes on the board. Like, I like to let my students help me when I'm creating my bulletin boards. Where and when, where you should put them, where should you make them visible at. Some are more, important for outside of the classroom. Then we have some that are for, just for your student references. So when and where, and it also gives you some different ideas to try and some tips to include when you're doing your bulletin board. So it's a great reference. Okay, everyone, that's pretty much it. Here's your ticket out the door. I always do a ticket out the door exit sleep after every lesson that I teach. So yours will be on Padlet. I put the tiny URL at the bottom or the hyperlink if you all just want to type it in. But it's a 321 on bulletin board. So if you would please give me 3 things that you learned, 2 questions you still have, and 1 thing you found interesting or that has stuck with you. I hope you all have learned a lot of information about bulletin boards, the different types, the factors, and the benefits of using them throughout this lesson. If you all have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My information is in the PowerPoint. And also, I would love to see you all's creation that you are doing throughout the school year. So please let me know if I could be of any assistance to you all. Thank you.